Hello again, this is Simon, and I've just had a really fun weekend running up at New Zealand Nationals in Auckland, so I thought I'd spend this week's video talking about why you should go to these and sort of what they are, these big competitions. So, first of all, what do you get at one of these big competitions? So, what you'll get is you'll get multiple days of orienteering, so that's usually 3 to 4 days, and you do all sorts of different kinds of orienteering while you're there. Some examples would be there's New Zealand Nationals, which I just went to. There's the North Island secondary schools and South Island secondary schools, as well as national secondary schools for those of you at school. And there's the Queen's Birthday weekend events for those of you not at school, or those of you who want to run more, which I recommend. So why should you go to these? Well, first and foremost, they're great fun. So what you'll get at one of these is you'll get better maps, so clubs will actually save up their maps for these events. You'll get better courses. The course will have been planned months in advance sometimes. If you're into the high level of at the higher end of things, you really like the competition, there's a higher level of competition because you've got people from all over the country coming in to do these. You get to meet them. And for the older ones as well, the people will be selecting for overseas teams. So whether you're taking someone to Australia or they're looking for a team for Junior World Orienteering Champs, they'll look at these bigger events and see who did well there and have a think about it through that. So even if you're not competitive though, it's a great reason to come up with your friends or your family for a weekend, do some fun events, have some fun hanging around outside of events. So, different kinds of orienteering. First of all, as you can see in front of me, I've got what we call a sprint map. So you do sprint orienteering. What sprint orienteering is super fast orienteering. So you'll often have the winning people doing 15 minutes, and most people will be like 15 to 25, maybe 30 minutes. And so a lot of it, what it's about, is just speed of thought. So do I go left or right around this building? And you have to make decisions super fast, often while running. Great example of this, as you can see control 8 to 9 here, is that there's sort of two routes you can take. Do you come around that way? Do you come around to the top? And you might think, oh, yep, there's the route through the middle, but there's actually a wall just here you can't go through, so you can't do that. But this decision you probably want to make while running again, because it's not worth stopping, because remember, it's super condensed, super fast. So if you stop to spend 5 seconds thinking about it, you've lost time, more time than you spend taking the wrong choice, usually. But it's super fun, super frantic, probably my favorite kind of orienteering. So that's usually the first day is a sprint. Second day, you'll go over to a long. And as you can see, longs are long. They're more of an endurance race. And what longs will usually have is what we call long legs, and they'll really reward planning ahead. So if you see control 9 over here, I'll just drag the map so you can see control 8 as well. So you can see it's a super long leg, right? Coming from down here all the way up to here. And what this rewards you for is identifying route choices and choosing the best one and planning ahead to do that. So you don't want to do that when you arrive at control 8, you want to know what you're doing by the time you get there. So there's actually 4 different route choices. There's one that comes somewhere along there. There's one that does the same thing but then goes this way. And there's 2 over to the right, so you've got the one that goes right the way around everything like that. And you've got one that goes sort of through the middle of the greenish bit there. Something like that. And so longs, again, if you're running before that, you can plan ahead and pick the route choice you want. And often with these longer legs as well, once you've picked a route choice, you'll stick to it and you'll spend some time running and you can use that to think about other route choices. For example, how am I going 10 to 11? That's what long legs are about. Long legs and long courses are about. Although often there'll be a little tricky thing at the end to try and trip you up when you're tired, but that's just part of a long. Still fun. Again, longer, less frantic, more about endurance and planning ahead. Second one we'll get to, or the third day, is the middle. So this isn't actually at the school's events. Schools will just have sprint, long, and then relay, whereas the other ones will have the 4-day ones will have the middle. And the middle is based the classic orienteering you're doing at of clubs and college sports events and those kind of things. But again, it'll be a step up, it'll be a step harder. And by that I mean that there'll be lots more people around, so you'll be racing against harder people, faster people, better people. And clubs will often save up their better maps for courses. And so you get beauties like this one, which is intricate detailed stuff, and there's a bunch of techniques you can use. I'm not going to go into them. but with the same orienteering techniques you use normally. But again, it's a little bit harder, a lot better map, better courses, lovely. The final sort of event we have, so this will always be the last day, is the relay. And so it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a relay. You go around, one person will run around their course, tag the second person who will run around their course, will tag the third person who will run around their course. And then when the third person finishes, your team is done. But what makes relay super interesting is that we mass start people. So you've got everybody who's running first leg will go to the start, and then someone will say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, and everyone runs off. But what happens is that there's always things happening in relays. So it's a little bit fast in the middle and along. But you'll always have people finishing. You'll always have people like tagging each other, running through. There's a lot to pay attention to. It's much more of a spectator sport than the rest of it. But in particular, the relay, one of the challenges is that because it's that mass start with everybody there, it's super frantic. And so what that means is you've got to think about when you're running, everyone else is around you. And we'll do we have this trick. We'll put different controls out there for different people to stop you all from following each other. So for example, for my control one here, I'm running and I'm looking for this null, but it might be, say, a control for somebody else on that null. Or, there might be a control for somebody else on that null. And there might be a control for somebody else on this 3 entrant over here. And so, while running my own race, I might be following people, I might not be. I need to think about, am I going to the right place? Am I going to the right control? While there's all the people around me. And maybe I have a control that's slightly further out, so I take a little bit longer, maybe I don't. But you've got to focus on that, make sure you get into your control while everybody else is around there. And basically not let the pressure get to your head. So the relay has more of a mental aspect to it in terms of focus and that kind of thing. But one of the things is for schools, we'll actually get you guys to run down a grade because the focus required is really intense. So if you're running a schools event, then if you normally run red on the long, you'd run orange on the relay. And although it makes it sound like, oh yeah, it's just going to be easy, again, because there's that focus involved and there's everyone right there, it's harder than it seems. So that's this week's video. I'll probably go into more detail about the various kinds of orienteering that I've encountered a while in the lead up to other events. But for this week, bye. See you next week.